University of Minnesota's athletic director, Norwood Teague, resigned on Friday amid allegations of sexual harassment involving 2 school employees. Minnesota released transcripts of the complaints, which include a series of graphic text messages sent by Teague. And last night, Star Tribune reporter Amelia Rayno came forward with additional accusations that Teague sexually harassed her as well back in 2013. She writes, quote, "Teague asked me about my longtime boyfriend, as he often did. My mistake was acknowledging that we had just broken up. The switch flipped. Suddenly, in a public and crowded bar, Teague tried to throw his arm around me. He poked my side, he pinched my hip, he grabbed at me. Stunned and mortified, I swatted his advances and firmly told him to stop. He didn't. Don't deny," he said, "our chemistry." Jemele, your reaction?
Well, I think that Amelia Rayno needs to be applauded for coming forth with this story.
Absolutely.
And while I know it was amid there were the 2 other women who had similar complaints against Norwood Teague, you know, it's safety in numbers, and so I understand that. We saw that a little bit with Bill Cosby. Suddenly, it was one woman after the next coming out to sharing their similar stories. It's just really sad because reading her piece, she had to basically make a business decision, all right? And she told her bosses at the Star Tribune, those in human resources, what she was facing, what was happening, showed them the evidence, and they gave her the options. They could go to Minnesota and tell them what was happening, which would have probably jeopardized her access to the team or to covering the university. Presumably it may have. That was a risk, put it like that. Yeah. It was a risk of endangering that access, or they would have had to take her off the beat, or worse, if she does proceed and go forward, then here comes, you know, victim blaming and shaming, and all of a sudden, because that's the way this situation usually works, the woman that comes forward is going to take the brunt of everyone's public opinion, the scorn, and everything else. It's just bad because for our industry, nothing that serious has ever happened to me.
Oh, I was going to ask you that.
No, nothing that serious has ever happened to me. I've certainly had sources flirt with me before, but nothing in a way that would ever make me feel unsafe, threatened, or uncomfortable. The sad part for me, as somebody who takes mentoring young women in this business seriously, who gets asked by young women about how to make it in this profession, is that so many of them have already encountered maybe nothing this serious, but they've encountered some semblance of this, or they know they will encounter it. So I'm asked often, how do you handle it? And I know some people, Amelia Rayno talked about the guilt that she still kind of feels, because she feels like if she would have come forward then, maybe this wouldn't have happened to the other women, which she's being unfair to herself for saying that. The only thing I can tell young women is that certainly you judge the seriousness of the situation. Always tell them to deflect, and if it doesn't stop, have a conversation with the person, and if it still doesn't stop, then you tell your boss. But nevertheless, though, even in 2015, it compromises your ability to do your job, because all of a sudden you're looked at as the whistleblower, as the one who told. You can't handle the rigors of this profession, even though no woman should be subjected to harassment.